It's Scott with Guru Reviews reporting for NU Films here at Spooky Empire 2022. Had kind of a late start today. You know me, always a blessed day when I wake up, but there's usually some kind of mayhem afoot someplace. But I spent about an hour and a half walking around a convention center that I realized I'd been in once before back in 2017. But anyway, after I caught up on my 10,000 steps you're supposed to take a day, we finally got some stuff set up here with a slight technical error. So we're running about 35 minutes behind. Do apologize for all those people who have been kind of waiting in the wings to speak to me. We are going to try to get through these interviews as quickly and as respectfully and give you as much time as possible. Certainly interested in getting some insight from you on your inspirations, even as becoming a filmmaker, and also for the film that you submitted to Spooky Empire. So we will start those here shortly. This is Scott from Guru Reviews reporting for NU Films. We're at Spooky Empire 2022. I kept saying 23, which means I would know the winners for 22. And we're doing interviews for folks that weren't able to make the in-person event. Your movie was O, is that correct?
Yeah, the short film, it's called O. It's a surreal horror short about the horrors of addiction. This is where we started. It was always a topic I was super interested in. I was invested in being with a partner in the past who had many struggles with addiction, having some addiction problems myself, but not that harsh.
Right.
But yeah, always being surrounded with this topic, and I don't want it to make another like needle in the arm junkie movie.
Yeah.
So I tried to think, what can I do? And then at one point I had a picture in my mind of a woman standing in front of a door, of a wall, with a creepy grin, staring into a black hole in the wall. And this cycle and this mood just kept me, and this picture kept coming back into my head. And so from this picture onward, I felt, okay, there's a connection with this addiction and this obsessive behavior of people. Not just a drug addiction, everything. You can be obsessed with many things, I'm sure you know. And
yeah.
so this is where the movie and the idea itself started.
Well, that's great. Just the creepy vision of a hole in the wall. There's been a few movies like that, and none of them had a happy presence or any other side of them. I think one of them had a monster that people or something like that. But I know that's not you. But as soon as you said hole in the wall, I thought about this. I think it was some movie where it was doesn't matter. We're not here to talk about that. But I don't know if you've seen it or not. It's this creepy movie. Guy moves into like a basement, like apartment, and there's this like spot on the wall, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's a hole.
No, I haven't seen it yet. No.
Then the hole starts to talk to him. We're going to leave it at that. And it's like, not going to do what I think he's going to do. And then, of course, the inevitable happened. It was just horrible. I'd much rather watch yours than that, because that just is scarring for a guy to see that happen. But so you've been a filmmaker for how long now?
I started 2009 in music videos, local stuff, also international stuff. What is something you over there might know? Billy Talent, Anti-Flag. These are like bigger international punk bands. I did stuff for. Other than that, it's mostly European and German bands. And besides that, I always was passionate with short films. I've now finished my first feature film, which will debuting next week here in Germany. This is one of the reasons why I can't be in the US and Canada right now, because we are screening at several places right now. I planned a whole Halloween tour through the US, but it's sadly not possible.
No, that's great. I actually want to know. Of course, my pen's probably over there. I want to know the name. So it's coming out in theaters over in Germany, correct?
My feature starting here. It's in German. It's called Aphasie. It's aphasia. In English, you might heard the word because Bruce Willis was diagnosed with it a few months ago.
Yes,
exactly, and it's named after that disease. The movie. So probably we don't have an international title yet, but probably if we just translate it, it would be Aphasia, the English title for the feature. And the short film is called O.
No, and I love watching foreign films in general. My daughter got me into them years ago, and I always have to watch them in the native language with English subtitles, because the dubbing never It's always like, especially if it ever gets to Netflix, it's like the same 5 voices do everything, or depending on what genre, like if it's a Japanese anime or something, there's a certain group that they hire. And I get, people, certain production companies use certain things. Sorry, somebody's doing that's actually 2 floors below us. I don't know if you can hear that noise or not. Hopefully you can. Oh, good. Okay. So I'll just pretend it's not happening. I'm like, God, what are they doing? But I find it better to watch it in the native tongue, so to speak, in English subtitles, because it never matches out. There's syncing issues. And even sometimes I think, I don't know if it's true that the subtitles are more accurate sometimes than the English translation. One of them I think is more accurate. I thought it was the subtitles.
For sure, most often the subtitles are more correct because they're like a word for word translation, and if they do a dubbing, they try to mimic the length of the sentence.
Right.
So the dubbing can't be that correct. I totally agree with you. Germany has a very big tradition of dubbing movies, like all the Hollywood stuff. You can watch it you can, I don't know, watch Iron Man with a German voice and everything. And it sounds good. It sounds okay. It's fun, especially if you go there with children. But at some point, I wanna hear the actors talk. I don't wanna some German guy in the studio talk. No offense against these people, no. They're doing their job, but yeah, I always prefer the original. But coming back to my short, it's very easy for you if you watch it at some point because there is no dialogue. So it's just
that was even better. Sometimes my daughter will say sometimes I need to talk too much, but a lot of times it's the unsaid thing, or that where you don't have to say a word or one word. It's just a look. That intensity and the build up, just waiting for something, is oh yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it. I really feel bad that I didn't get to watch it. Could eventually potentially have international release, which means you could be here with it.
We're during the festival premiere next week. We are trying to get not just the everything done for Germany, but we're also trying to get world sales to have an international premiere. So I'm really curious for that, and especially my short is right now really like going around the world. So this is also hopefully opening some doors. This weekend especially is crazy. We are at Toronto After Dark. We are at Nightmare. We are at so many festivals just this weekend with our short. And it's because there's no dialogue. It's intense. It works with people. I really noticed that. One fun anecdote I had. I think it was the first international screening in Spain. Yeah, I think we were in Spain at a big horror festival in Spain. And for some reason, there was a child in the audience, like 7 or 8ish.
Right.
And she was talking through a lot of the short films because there were people talking. Some shorts were with subtitles, and she was bored. And so some moments were scary. But like I said, my short is like very intense, but without dialogue, and it takes like 30 seconds, and then it will grab you by the neck, and it will hold your attention for 15 minutes until it's over. And I was really proud in talking to the other filmmakers afterwards. Oh, I was the one who got the child silent. She was like powerful. Not saying anything. She was like, I don't know. This one got her. She wasn't talking. It was silent. It's not a silent film. Of course.
No, that's music,
great. But no dialogue.
Anybody can silence a child with a movie that's not a cartoon and without dialogue. That's definitely captivating. So, anything else you want to add? Insights, upcoming projects? I mean, you got one here and one coming out. So, I mean, but I know
right now. Yeah, right now I'm super happy. I'm bummed out that I can't do my little North and South American tour right now, right. but I'm super happy. I got such a nice what is your director called? I was just checking the email. Alea from the festival.
Yeah.
I got such a nice email from her that she told me that she couldn't get the short. I hope I'm not telling internal stuff, but I think it's fine that she couldn't get it out of her head since she saw it and she thinks about it every day. And I was like, wow,
no, that's good.
okay.
She hasn't told me that, but we've been kind of so chaotic getting things set up today for tomorrow, which is why we wanted to do it today, because it's quiet. Because tomorrow it'd be insane. We'd have to do it after hours or something like that. But I haven't seen it, unfortunately. Like, keep admitting horribly, but I'm gonna have to watch it now, because if she mentioned it, not that she doesn't mention, because she mentions a lot of films, but if it's something she specifically says she can't keep out of her head, I've got to watch it now. Because then maybe I can figure out later.
That's right now my hope to get you excited about it. Exactly.
No, that's great. Oh, I'm gonna.
But I heard good things about the Spooky Empire Festival, so I was really curious to submitting there. I talked to my crew. We feel very honored. I think we are selected or nominated in 5 categories, like best short, Filmmaker of the Year, Best Actress, Best Effects, and Best Vomit-Inducing Scene. Sadly, you haven't seen it. I was really curious about Best Vomit-Inducing Scene. I think I know which one, but if you see it, please tell me which one.
Well, fantastic, Dominic. I really appreciate your patience and understanding with me on the technical side here and getting up. And I'm absolutely thrilled that we did get to speak, and good luck to you on both your short film here, especially, obviously it's been, like you said, nominated for several categories, and on your new feature-length film as well. But we certainly look forward to more from you, hopefully again next year, full-length short film.
Hopefully in person.
Yes, and I was going to say, you could be in person and hopefully not watch me having a technical issue. You can say, I was there last year when this happened. So yeah. But fantastic. Any closing words you have for us, Dominic?
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it, or you enjoyed it in the past. I hope it captivates you. I hope it works. And if you get lost, there is a little, but we already talked about some of the topics, but there's a little quote in the end to make you not feel that lost. Exactly.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Fantastic, Dominic. Thank you so much again. Good luck again here in the Spooky Empire Film Festival, and we will be talking to you hopefully soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Thank you.
Ciao. Have a great day.
You too. I'm Scott with Guru Reviews, reporting for NU Films here at Spooky Empire 2022, the film festival. And with us right now is Danny. He's got one of the short films, a unique twist on one of my favorite films from Edgar Allan Poe, one of his stories, The Pit and the Pendulum. And I watched it, and I'm not a big musical guy, but I couldn't help but watch it, which is good because it was enticing. I love the way it was filmed. I mean, did I get it wrong? Am I thinking of the wrong movie? There was.
Oh, that's the film I made. The Pendulem Musica.
I love the visuals. Like the notes, like that were like in it. I don't know if they were like flaming in the walls and stuff like that, but as he was being, I don't want to give it away. Of course, some people. Well, I can't say most people have. Depends on the audience, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. I mean, you're referring to at one point. I mean, the lead character in my version of the Pendulum is a composer, and in the original story, Poe refers to sort of a demon eye staring at him from the walls of the cell at the end. And in our case, the demon eyes are actual musical notes staring back at him. And if you're listening carefully to the music and you read music, you'll notice that the notes you are hearing are also the notes you are seeing on the walls of the cell while he's having that moment.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Great visual. Well executed too. Because there's a lot going on, but I'm looking at them like, my gosh, those are like notes, and it looks like things were pulsating and he's getting closer and closer, and you're like all over the place. It was. Sometimes when you take on an Edgar Allan Poe or something else that's been done before, it's kind of like, well, how are they going to make it different? And I loved it. And I was cringing when the blade was coming through and he's trying to cut himself loose and it keeps cutting into him. I'm like, oh gosh, no, again. Oh my gosh. It was so, it kept a little bit of the horror lover in me, entertained and enthralled. And then I'm like, wow, it's a nice twist. So are you a big Edgar Allan Poe fan?
Yeah, I'm a big fan, but I kind of fell into adapting him sort of by accident. There's a theater company that I worked with, and they would do these literary festivals. And the first one they did was the theme was Edgar Allan Poe, and they said, do you have anything you want to do for that? And I decided I would write a one-man show, musical adaptation of The Telltale Heart.
Oh,
This
wow.
is many years ago. I'm a composer as well as an actor, and up until then, I'd been either composing or acting, and I was trying to combine the two crafts in one. And so I wrote for myself, and I did this performance. It was me surrounded by three cellos, and it was basically word for word the whole short story of The Telltale Heart, but set to music. And then 3 years ago, I turned that into a film, a short film, The Telltale Heart of Musica. But I'd always wondered if I should write a second act for this play version and whether that would be The Pit and the Pendulum. And so while I was in post-production for The Telltale Heart, and we hit a snag, and I had to wait 2 months before we could fix it and get finish the film. So I was feeling very frustrated. And in that mood, I pulled out The Pit and the Pendulum short story, reread it, realized while I was having a problem finding the right way to adapt it, but then also in sort of my sense of feeling impotent and frustrated, realized, oh, this could be a metaphor, an allegory for something else, not just sort of the original torture porn, which is what kind of is. It's sort of the original story is just a hero put in 3 different horrific torture situations designed to kill him, and how does he manage to escape? And that by itself, I didn't know what to do with that as a musical piece. But then I don't know if I want to give away sort of my framing device for the story, but I realized that I could look at those imagery in the short story as a metaphor for something a little more psychological, a little more sort of psychologically twisted and not just sort of physically horrific. And then I realized how I could adapt the piece. And then I was sort of up and running with the idea, and then the pandemic hit, and I realized, oh, I'm going to be home for a while. I've got all these festivals, but they're all going to be on Zoom now. They're not going to be in person.
Yeah.
So what else am I going to do with myself? Because I lost my job because of the pandemic, and so I was my teaching work dried up because of it. So I was like, okay, I will write my second musicale while I'm doing the festival circuit for Telltale Heart. I wrote Pit and Pendulum, and then as soon as the pandemic allowed, we went shot it, basically.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's easy to forget that. I mean, not so much with the pandemic, but that it did affect the entire world. You know, sometimes we get so wrapped up in our own selves, our own culture, our own country, that we forget that the entire world literally did. It was something. It was a shared experience, one that we probably all don't want to have again.
Yeah,
and it definitely changed the dynamics for a lot of things. I mean, this is great though. I love this. I mean, I watched it twice, and
thank you.
I have to like something, watch it twice, you know. And again, the musical port kind of grew on me, so I didn't dislike it. I'm like, this is a nice twist, and I watched it again because I wanted to make sure I didn't miss something. And I started noticing the notes and stuff like that. I'm like, this was done really well, so I was excited. And then when you responded, I was like, oh, great, I get to talk to him.
Yeah, well, I now, you know, this festival experience, I've been able to go to festivals and be there in person. I mean, this is, you know, this one festival I can't go to, you guys in Orlando, because I've got another festival here in New York at the very same time, and I had to sort of make a choice. So I'm really glad that I can still connect with you guys through this interview and still participate a little more actively because of that. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, it's an important thing as a filmmaker, any kind of creator, to get some exposure outside of, especially when it's a small independent thing. And do you have anything else you're working on right now?
I am currently I'm writing the script for an original feature, also a horror film, a kind of a ghost story, where the music and the sound will be a feature of the storytelling.
That's good.
Basically, the idea is, well, actually, I won't give it away, but
don't, because then I'm going to like,
no, I'm not going to give away the trick, but let's put it this way: silence and sound are going to be as spooky as anything visual, and I promise you the visuals are going to be mighty spooky too.
When can we expel? I don't want to put you under pressure. I'm highly interested in seeing your work.
Well, like I said, I just finished a very detailed outline, and I'm starting the first draft of the script. So I hope to have that done by the end of the year, and then we'll take it from there. You know, it's going to require, you know, more outside financing than my first 2 films. Let's put it that way. So I'm going to have to, you know, go out with hat in hand and say, you know, help me make this film.
Well, good luck with that, and hopefully exposure here can help with that in future endeavors, and it may end up in next year's festival. Who knows?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe not next year's, maybe the year after
The
that.
year after, yeah.
The feature films take a little bit long, and I did a lot of pre-preparation for both of the films that I've done so far, and I would expect I would be doing that for this one as well. I like to be well prepared before I go shoot.
No, yeah, and it shows, because I've done some work myself where I wasn't prepared, and I don't think I've ever released those, because they're better off left in the personal archives. Need to get deleted off of that hard drive someday.
Well, and with this, almost everything you heard in the soundtrack, except for the sounds in the bathroom, were pre-recorded. And we recorded in the midst of the pandemic. The cellists came in wearing masks. Everybody was being safe. But all the music, all the vocals that I do, everything you hear me say had been pre-recorded. So I was on set lip syncing to pre-recorded tracks. Wow. The whole soundtrack was almost 95% complete when we went into film. That's the sort of that's the method we pioneered with the first one, or pioneered. It was the only way we could afford to do it for the first one. Because, I was hoping to maybe record on set or maybe do ADR. But we realized if we could pre-record, and if I could match my performance on set without needing to fix anything after the fact, it would save us a whole bunch of money, basically. And we didn't have the budget to not do any differently. So, in both films I've done, I've now sort of gotten used to going on set, being well prepared, and being able to lip sync my whole performance to a pre-recorded soundtrack.
That's great. I did not catch that at all. So, and that's great. That's fantastic. I'm sitting here listening to that, and I'm just trying to process this as you're saying that. I'm like, I don't think I even, which is good, because you did an excellent job. Plus, visually, there was a lot of going on, which was keeping me, my attention, other than saying, I saw that's good. That's great for you. Right. Fantastic performance. And good luck to you and your film at the festival. I'm going to make sure I sneak in and see it a third time now, because now I'm going to look for more things. Especially I'm going to try to find lip syncing. No, I'm kidding. But it seems like
now you'll be looking, and you'll see when the tiny moments when it's maybe not perfect, But it's showing in your festival on Sunday as part of the Art House program. Is Sunday at 1 or 11 or something like that. Sunday early.
Yes.
So I don't know when you guys are posting these videos, but yeah, that's the plug. Sunday.
No, thank you. And I was trying to be more prepared and things. Yes. So thank you for that. But yes, good luck. Anything you want to add as we wrap things up here, Danny?
A lot of people ask me about the mirror masks. So let me just sort of.
Yes, that was because with the whole, yes.
I'm actually kind of, it's great that you asked me about other things or talked about other things, because the question I've gotten at every Q&A, the first question is usually about
the mirror masks.
So I'll just quickly explain that we made a face cast of my head, of my face, and then I collaborated with a woman who is a sculptor and a mask maker, and I asked her to contour to the exact shape of my face and make horizontal and vertical and diagonal planes of what looks like glass, but it's actually an acrylic that it looks like a mirror that we could fit and affix to my head with some wires. And then we went crazy and created some sort of headgear that we could put on my head that with lots of mirrors. And then she even added extra pieces that I could attach to these mirror shards.
That's great.
That created all these different visual opportunities. And I spent 2 months with my phone just checking out angles and taking pictures. And then we went to the set and I said, these are the looks we're going to try to shoot. And then we shot them. And then I had in post-production a couple weeks where I could just play around with what we shot and find the best combinations in post-production. And that's how we sort of got to what you see in the film. And I'm kind of proud that I've had a lot of people say to me, like, I have never seen anything like this before, so that. I
hadn't. And I thought of it, but I was so enthralled with the I don't know why. I saw the mirror thing. And it wasn't that
You
I
don't
didn't.
know how happy it makes me to hear you talk about how enthralled you are with the music, because most people never talk about the music, and it's a damn musical, you know?
Yeah, I
They're
mean,
all
I was
talking
like
about the
watching, like, wait a minute,
visuals
this
with
is a
me, which is
musical. Wait a minute,
fine.
am I watching the same thing? Okay, I thought it was something. It goes Pin and Pendulum. I said, so there's got to be something here. I have to watch this, and I'm like, I said, open mind, let's watch it. And I'm like, wow, this is great. And I saw the mirror stuff, but I guess maybe I don't know if I'm jaded from so many crazy things of happening to people in horror movies. I was more interested in just the way the music was working with the film and complementing it. It wasn't a distraction for me. And then I'm looking at all these like visuals. Like, again, I keep focusing on the notes in the walls, and I noticed the mirror thing, but the notes on the walls really got me.
Well, I'm really glad to hear this, and I thank you for that. When I wrote this, I wrote the music and did the adaptation of the Edgar Allan Poe text and came up with the visuals, not separately, but in tandem. Like all three aspects were constantly informing the other. Visual things happened because of musical things that were required, and the text, it all sort of spoke back and forth to each other. But it's just been my experience that people don't often ask or talk about the music, even if they liked it. So to have someone like you who tells me right off the bat, actually music isn't my thing, but I really like what you did with the music and how it worked for the film. That is actually kind of the biggest compliment I've gotten so far. So I thank you for that.
No, you did a wonderful job. And I watched it twice. So, I mean, that definitely says something, because I kept thinking there's something else here I'm missing. So I'm glad it was a fresh, I won't even say redo. It was a fresh vision of one of my favorite Edgar Allan Poe things. So I was expecting just kind of the normal, slight twist. And it's there's nothing wrong with that, because he wrote great stuff. But it was it caught me off guard in a great way.
Did you? One final question. Did you notice that the pendulum, the sword that was coming to cut him, what it looks like?
Straight. It wasn't curved, because I was expecting the curved blade. It was a straight blade. It almost looked like I don't want to say a steak knife, but it did. Steak knife. It looked like like a. I know I'm missing the mark on this one, Danny. I'm sorry.
That's
it definitely.
fine.
I was expecting the curved blade, but it was a straight blade. It kept going back and forth.
When you watch it the third time, give it a close look, and maybe you'll go, oh fuck, it's this.
I'm seeing it in my head, and I'm seeing it pass over, so I'm trying to catch that, because then of course there's the cringe. I'm like, and I love that, where I'm like, oh, cutting in, and that was just more than somebody getting whacked with a chainsaw for me, because it was done so it's that subtle cut like that, where it's like, oh, we're just gonna nick you, and then it's worse, that it's deeper, versus we're just gonna that, because it's dragging it out. So I was like, oh, so I was. Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to.
The only sound you hear when it's cutting is the cellos making the sound. That's not a sound effect. It's the music indicating that he's being cut into. And okay, I'll give it away. The sword is a huge cello bow. It's the bow of a cello. You see that he's a composer, that he has a cello. The cello gets destroyed by the soldiers, and there's a cello bow. So it's a cello bow, but instead of having horse hairs, it's got a blade that cuts into him. So he's literally being killed by music.
Oh, that's great.
That's the nightmare that he's seeing. It's his music, his own music, destroying him.
That's terrific. That is truly horrifying, to be killed by the one thing that you love and have passion for. That's great. Great. Now I got to see it. Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch it.
Yeah, I gave it. Anyway.
That's right. I got to watch it again anyway.
But it's very fascinating to see what people catch and call me out and say, I saw this, or I saw this, and what things, they needed another viewing to look at. I don't expect people to notice the notes as much like you did in the music as you did. So it's gratifying in that way. So I just thought you'd be interested to know that sword is actually a cello bow.
Yeah.
A very large cello bow, which we shot with a miniature, by the way. We made it.
Oh, nice.
My production designer built the cello bow. I've got it back just down the hall. It's been hung up. And then for the large close-ups, we had just a part of the cello bow without the ends, just big enough so that we could show close-ups of it cutting into the torso. And it's not my torso being cut into, it's a pillow with the costume and some fake blood.
Oh gosh, I give it too much away, but now, yeah, no, but I will. I'm gonna watch it again tonight. I won't wait
Okay, cool.
for the festival. But well, fantastic, Danny. Thanks again so much for your
Thank
patience
you.
and for your submission and for making me enjoy a musical in a special
Yeah.
way. So
It can be done, all you
yeah, it can
doubters
be.
out
I'm like,
there.
that's it. That's it.
There
Just
can
got to
be
do it the right
musicals you can
way.
like.
It's got to do it the right way. But good luck to you in the festival and in the future. Have yourself a safe and blessed day, Danny.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks. Take care. I'm Scott with Guru Reviews and reporting for NU Films. We're here at Spooky Empire 2022, the film festival, and we're here with one of the creators, the filmmakers, who has a film that's being showcased that may or possibly, hopefully, win a prize. And this is Taylor, and it's Burial Sites.
Yes, burial site.
I think I prepared myself up to that point, but no. So how are you? And please tell us a little bit about your film.
Yeah, so I'm doing well. And since the film, I've actually moved over to Philadelphia and I full-time direct produce and AD. So it's great that this being my first short film that I've directed is going out there and spreading throughout the US, which is really nice. We've had a couple people that are on the crew move away from Florida. We still got some people back there to represent. And this short is a horror thriller piece. We all, everyone on the crew really is into that genre, so we felt like it made sense. Originally, we were presented 5 scripts from the writer because we just wanted to do something. We all met on this other indie horror movie, actually, that's now on BET Plus. And so gave us some scripts. I was like, this looks the most realistic. Like, let's knock it out, working like with a very thin budget. And yeah, got some fantastic people. And it's a story of what you think is a kidnapping, but it ends up being a witch hunter that can't quite hold it down.
So Philadelphia,
Mm-hmm.
but you're doing almost everything now. So is that a good trade-off for you for the wonderful weather you have in Philadelphia?
Honestly, I love it. I've grown up in Florida, grew up in Miami, went to Orlando, and then when I started coming out here for more travel jobs and like aiding some features, I experienced the seasons, and I didn't want to let that go, and fell in love with honestly the culture and the people.
People get into the film business in different facets. When I was a kid, I was a special makeup effects artist. I'm not there now, so I'm someplace different. But a lot of people, it starts at a very young age. So do you remember how young you were when you, I say, caught the film bug? Because the film bug could be directing, cinematography, effects artist, and it's just a vast field. And usually if you get the bug, you're going to end up someplace in that field in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Are you where you think you would be?
No, but I'm happy with it, and I like that I didn't expect where I am now. I got the film bug back in high school. I was like in theater. I was like thespian president and all that stuff, and like did the like school news channel and all those different things in yearbook. And so pretty much anything like entertainment type jumping around I was doing. And I thought I wanted to go into medicine until I ended up in the hospital like junior year. And then I was like, no, I want to do what makes me happy.
And that's the important thing. Some people make that decision, which is very noble if you're helping people in that aspect or anything in life. But
Yeah.
you know, if it's not your passion, you have to do what you're passionate about, because you'll be miserable for a long time in your life. Any future projects that you're working on that may end up in a future Spooky Empire or definitely on a big screen?
So yes, but right now I am kind of waiting for the right moment to strike, considering that I have moved from Florida to Philadelphia. I definitely already have a crew kind of stocked out, but I also have my OG crew back in Florida. So it's really just waiting for a time where the logistics make sense, because ultimately I don't want to go forward with a script that's unrealistic. I want to keep something that's realistic, but knock it out of the park. Like with Burial Site, we have SFX makeup, but we also have VFX. And that is something that other festivals have recognized us for, specifically like nominating us for Best VFX. And we've gotten some, what is it called? Convention's Choice.
Nice.
Because I feel like with a lot of like the low budget horror pieces, like you can focus on psychological horror. There's a lot of different ranges. You can stick full with SFX, you can go VFX, but we did both. And
That's
it's a
good.
very small crew. Small cast. It's 4 people. One is just a cameo at the end. So it's really focusing on those 3 actors who we've worked with on full features before.
So, any last words? Let's see what I did there. I'm just a horrible comic. See, that's why I didn't keep my day job. For us here at Spooky Empire, before we wish you good luck and sign off.
Enjoy all the pieces. Don't let that film bug go, and keep it up. And I hope to scare you again.
Well, I want to thank you again for your patience, your time, and your extreme patience and tolerance of me. And thank you for your submission to Spooky Empire Film Festival. Good luck to you, and we hope to see more of you and your projects in the future.
Thank you so much for your time, and really appreciate you guys making a point to do this over Zoom.
Oh, yes. No, and I really wanted to be on time and on point. So have a safe and blessed day.
You too.
So I'm Scott with Guru Reviews, reporting for NU Films here at Spooky Empire 2022. And we have 2 of the filmmakers and creators of one of the films that's in the festival. And if I remember correctly, although I'm getting old, my daughter would usually hear poking me, telling me to shut up. But it's Rock Island Woman.
Yes.
And welcome, Caitlin and Kenneth. How are you folks doing?
We're doing great.
Yeah, we're good. How are you?
Oh, any day wake up's a blessed day, especially when technology works, sort of.
Yeah.
But it does work. So, and I'm sorry we pushed it towards the outer edge of things, but I'm glad we were able to connect. So before I look like a fool, no, I'm going, no, I can't. My daughter's gonna be here later. So tell us a little bit about your film and what inspired you.
So when I wrote it, it started off just really simple. I was just writing around a song that I thought would be fun for a fight scene, a Johnny Cash song. And then I started doing research, and I discovered that there's a much bigger story here and a much darker subject matter. And I thought it would be a really interesting and unique way to tell a story.
The Woman's
surrounding
Revenge. Am I in the right one? The Woman's Revenge with the thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
punches, and there's like that break in the fourth wall. See, thank God my memory has not failed me completely. See, I was going to say, I was going to go, oh, is this movie? And you'd be like, honey, don't tell him he's got the wrong movie. Just like, next year, get somebody who's like a little bit on time and knows what. So I watched it and I was like, well, just put something in front of. See, this is why they don't let me touch technology sometimes. But yes, we loved it because I unfortunately didn't get to see all of the films. I think I viewed 50 or 60 of them, and yours was one of them. So I'm glad that you folks made it here. I liked it.
Yeah, we are too.
Very yes. So, and I don't want to give too much away for people who haven't seen it. Now, is there a way, I am curious now, for folks that aren't here, that they'll be able to see this? Is it like on you're not in distribution, no? But are you?
Right.
You have like a YouTube, social media? I'm just asking because I hadn't thought about that. Because if you're not here, you know, sometimes some films go viral and some don't. But there's a lot of talented people like yourselves that may not get recognition, which is why we wanted to do something like this and really get to speak to as many of the creators, directors, and filmmakers as we could, because it gives a little bit special touch. And thank God you're one of the ones I had seen, because I was trying to watch some stuff and I didn't. Where's my daughter?
Right now,
so no, but yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, right now we're on the festival circuit, so we haven't posted it anywhere, but I'm sure we will in the future.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you're going from, okay, no, that's good. That's good. That's a lot of exposure.
Yeah.
This is going to be slammed here. They moved this into a bigger area this year. So it's,
That's wonderful.
I feel like a very small person in a very large area. So, and it's
We really
quiet now.
wanted to.
Go ahead.
We really wish we could have made it. We just had car trouble, and you know we have a almost 2-year-old, so we're having a lot of the logistics weren't working out for us. So
well, we wish we could be here, but children are a wonderful thing. Mine's 26 years of age, so and they do grow up, and even without an instruction manual, you know, love your daughter. You said,
yeah,
love your daughter. Take care of her. Can't lock her up in the basement. But at the same time, you can't, you know, let her paint the town. But you'll do fine, especially because you're creatives, you're fellow creatives. And my daughter turned out fine. She keeps me grounded, so I think she's usually the adult in the room when I'm around. I'm still like 12, especially when the vendor room opens up later. But so yes,
Kenneth failed to mention which song actually inspired it. So when he was saying the Johnny Cash song, it was actually Rock Island Line by Johnny Cash. And he was listening to it and he was like, oh my gosh, this would be a really cool for a fight scene.
Yeah.
But also as he started doing research on the trains, he realized, there's a lot of sex trafficking that comes with this.
Yeah.
And that's what triggered it. And
Well, I stumbled upon an article about people that have been human trafficked on cargo trains, and I was like, okay, you have to let the story find itself sometimes and tell itself, and that's what happened, And
yeah, it was. I didn't know where it was going, and I mean, I kind of had a feeling, but then I didn't, and then it was. And I like movies that surprise me. The politician at the end, but yeah, and I was like, man.
That was such a nice touch. I love it.
I was like, oh yeah.
Well, I want to say really quick. So the thing that I really love about the film is I believe that men started at the beginning thinking one thing. And but a woman would watch it and be like, oh.
Yeah.
And then halfway through it flips.
Which I thought was great.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why we really, really wanted to push this project. And I can tell you right now on set, when we were shooting with Andrea, because it is a tough role for her, and we had 5 women on set, which honestly in a short film it's not normally like that, but when it came to taking care of her, making sure she was okay, it really was like a pack of women taking care of each other, and boy was that fun. It was just a really great set in general on such a hard topic. It was just a really good time, and we're really thankful.
Yeah, I had people start when they first started reading it. They said they got about a third of the way in, and they almost stopped reading it until they got to that one point, and then they were like, okay. And then as they kept reading it, they were like, okay, this is good.
Again, I appreciate you taking the time and the patience with the situation and with me. That's you get a gold star for that. And like the film, love the film. Congratulations on your success.
Thank you so much.
Good luck in that. And we look forward to seeing more from both of you in the future. And take care. And have a safe and blessed day.
Yeah, you too.
All right.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Right, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye now. I'm Scott with Guru Reviews, reporting for NU Films here at Spooky Empire 2022. Great film festival. We got a lot of creative people that have submitted films that are being showcased here, and some folks are unfortunately not able to make an appearance in person. My friend here, who's a Australian, a little bit of a long walk about. So I'm gonna get slapped.
What a long swim.
Cut that right up before I get hurt. But so welcome, and I appreciate your patience. Been waiting for me, and I'm going to appreciate your patience in advance for dealing with me, because if my daughter was here, normally she's the anchor in the adult room, and she'd just be and take on over, and things are much smoother when we're together. Me, it's just kind of helter skelter. I have a blast, but so hopefully I don't upset anybody. But yeah, so tell us about your movie before I get hit.
Of course. So this film started production in 2019, obviously a big worldwide phenomenon hit, and we had to delay quite a few things with it. But the film is called Fertiliza, a little bit of a play on words. The main character is Eliza, and she does call fertilizer. In fact, the fertilizer is her husband's remains, and she's doing that on her favorite rose bush, which at the time is dead. And her neighbors give her a lot of stick for it. They're not the most understanding and compassionate bunch. And anyway, the next morning she wakes up, her roses are miraculously red and blossoming, and she has a dark thought. She goes, I wonder if I was to get some more ashes from maybe some of my irritating neighbors and people within my community that are giving me the shits. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but giving me the pain in the asses. I wonder if this will continue to grow my rose bush, and hence the idea behind the movie, and hence the chaos that happens and the carnage that takes place on screen. Most of it is implied, but there is the bloody axe here and there, and obviously a lot of ashes. You might need subtitles, by the way, with everything that I'm saying.
I'm good, but I may have to.
You're doing well.
but I think that's just because of I hear it a lot, and every once in a while I start slipping into this really bad accent, and I get my nerves like, "You're right, what are you doing?" Like, I'm sorry, I wasn't meant to do that. With the film business being as massive as it is, and a lot of times people will catch what I call the film bug, where I was for Star Wars, wanted to become a makeup effects artist, but have become different paths to where I am today. So, but it's one of those things, I think once you get bit by the film bug, you're a lifer. So do you remember when you first had that passion to do something creative, storytelling, and are you where you thought you would be?
Yeah, it's a really great question, and there's so many, I think, memories that come up throughout my journey as a filmmaker, but also as a creative, that I look on really fondly. And I think in Australia, and it probably is very similar in the US in some circles, where you're just exposed to groups of people, and you're always entertaining people, and having that from a very young age, I was always talking to people and always having to tell stories. My parents would say, no, you're not hanging out in your room. We've got 5 guests over. You need to come out and tell a story. What did you do during the week? And a lot of it was fabricated, to be honest, Scott. But, that's part of the fun about storytelling. Yeah. You can go down these different paths, and it is based on truth. But I think as far as the filmmaking bug is concerned, I'm like probably many people growing up in the early 2000s, where you have a very basic digital camera and you just run around, and I was just making a lot of sketches, and I was really, really enjoying just making little videos. And I think Chris Angels was really popular at the time. So I did like a thing called Michael Mind Freak, and we're doing all these stupid pranks and trying to drink methylated spirits. We didn't actually do it for real, but we had some fun with that. And so I think I've always loved film. For a long time there, I was a documentary maker at the very start of my college degree. And then I think when I went to the United States, I spent a semester there at college, and they pretty much said, hey, if you want to be a professional filmmaker, you can't master an hour and 20 minutes if you haven't made a short film. So that kind of was the moment where I'm like, okay, I've got to do this. I've got to begin with a short film. And so, yeah, this crazy idea that I had has sort of been translated into this film. And I'm really hoping that, I can continue to make films, and hopefully, fingers crossed, in the future I can come and work in the US. And there's a lot of collaborations with Australia too, and the Australian film industry is booming, especially during COVID. There was a lot of productions here that were US productions, so there is some hope there that there can be a little bit of collaboration. But I'm very open to working in the States and making films over there. I've got a great community I know over there, particularly in California, and I love the place. So want to continue making films. I love it.
That's great. That's great, man. That's awesome. I love it when people find passion in something. Obviously this, but people have passion in many things, and they just follow through in life and just are happy, because too many people are not. They want to do something, but they choose to do something else for whatever reason, and it's just too many miserable people. And I'm gonna have to screenshot you, because it's great. Right there too, because the clown, it looks like the clown is like a puppeteer. I
was thinking that maybe I'll try to adjust my chair.
Zoom, because I don't know how to freaking use Zoom. I never use it. But it's like, give that guy the Zoom interview calls, because it was like, we were doing in-person interviews all weekend. It's like, well, there's gonna be people not be able to make it. Do you want to do Zoom? I'm like, hell yeah. I mean, I'll figure it's a program. It's but I want to have the people who want to talk about their films. Yes, absolutely. Give them a voice. But it's so funny, because just at the right moment, especially when you did that, it looked like, right now it looks like he's got his hand on your head, but like it sometimes looked like you're being controlled by like this evil, you're like a marionette in the clown.
Yes.
And it was just because when you were there, smile, hey, great photo, boom, there's clown hand, like, okay, what's going on with this? And now here you are, just kind of like,
oh, bro.
It looks great. It does.
I'll do it.
Funny. I've been trying to keep a straight face, because you're very animated, and I'm enjoying your stories and your passion. And it's
thank you.
And I just enjoy the vibe from people from Australia. And then there's this marionette kind of holding you in the back. like we're holding him back. We don't want to. Yeah, it's just so many different ways to take that, but it's too funny. But
that's brilliant. Did you want me to do a pose? You're going to have to pose as
it.
well if it takes a screenshot. Maybe you can pretend that you're controlling the hand from your end.
Because I can be
and
like
a little controller,
and I'm like this my screen. And I'll have it. I'm like in this like third, not even a third, and I'm like this little tiny box. So it looks like I'm like the controller of the hand. Oh, it's just like this, you know. Oh yes, the horrible white American is controlling the clown, controlling the. I'm so sorry.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Oh my god. They're gonna be like, we're never gonna have him do this again without his daughter. He's just unchained and
This has been so much fun, though.
No, but that's what it's supposed to be about. Yeah, it's like
that's it.
Week before I get anyway. So, on a serious note, I don't have many of those. Any upcoming? I mean, aside from like this isn't enough. Any upcoming projects you're working on now? Another short film, something?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'm currently preparing to go back to the United States. I'm going to go there for a visit. My current job is doing sports media broadcasts for RMIT University, which is a pretty big Australian university. It's got some global campuses too. So I'll be coming back, doing some research. So potentially looking for some good narratives within the sports. And, you know, there's always really colorful characters in the sports industry. So I might potentially try and do something creative along those lines and try and get sport to a level where it's never going to be as big as the US, but certainly to a level where we can be pretty proud of how we broadcast sport and doing it in a fun and creative and dynamic way and sort of bringing the best out of the personalities that are going to be there. So that's probably the one that I'm kind of eyeing off. I also did a little bit of travel tourism hosting. So I've got this bit of a crazy idea to travel around Australia and visit some bakeries and try out some of their delicacies. So that's going to definitely, you know, give me a slight less bit of tone in my face, but I'm very much looking forward to, you know, traveling around and hopefully doing some reviews. I don't think I'm going to be, I mean, there might be a bit of Anthony Bourdain about it. Definitely not Gordon Ramsay, but I think we'll have some fun with it potentially.
That's fantastic. I'm sorry. I'm gonna. Oh God, it's too funny. I don't want it to end. I want to congratulate you on your having your film, which I will watch tonight. I'm just going to keep thinking.
I'm holding you to it.
I'm going to keep thinking about the puppeteer hand now. But congratulations on your film being showcased at the film festival here, and good luck to you on that. Perhaps winning an award. And if you do, I'm going to make this your picture of acceptance. Yes, there we go with the thing with the clown hand. But
yeah, it looks like I'm eating a lemon or something, aren't I?
God, if they do have him again here next year, I'm not even going to log in. But so, you know, any final words that you have for us before we head out?
Oh, just huge shout out to my amazing cast and crew who put in so much time and effort and energy into the project. I'm super duper proud of them, and I hope they continue to do amazing things throughout their career as filmmakers, actors, cinematographers, you name it. And it's just a really, really massive honor and a privilege to be featured at this film festival. So a big shout out to everyone at Spooky Empire Horror Film Festival, especially you, Scott, as well. Everyone who's made this possible. We're truly privileged to have an Australian film there being played, and I hope everyone in the audience enjoys it and understands it as well. Might need those subtitles for the Aussie lingo as well, but we hope you enjoy the film.
I'll go in and just be like, I'll explain everything to him when it's done. But you
need any clarification, I'm here for you. I can hold your hand throughout the whole process.
I'll answer all the questions when you're done. So have a safe and blessed night. It has been an extreme pleasure, my friend.
Thank you so much. And if you're in California, by the way, or any good filmmakers are, or anyone from Spooky Empire, just hit me up because I'll be around and it'd be great to network, have a link, and do some more puppeteering.
Oh, yeah. Great callback, man. Thanks, man. Have a
Thank you
great
so
day.
much, Scott. Enjoy the
Thanks.
rest of the interviews. Best of luck.
Thanks. Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you, mate. You too.
I'm Scott from Guru Reviews, reporting for NU Films Spooky Empire 2022. We're at the film festival here, and we are blessed with yet another filmmaker from Down Under, Lauren, who has a wonderful movie that's being showcased here and up for awards, possibly one of the big ones. The movie's called Bliss of Evil. And Lauren, I'd like to say welcome to the show, but we really don't have a show. But how are you, and how are things down there? And tell us a little bit about your film.
Sure. Thank you very much for having us. It's a lovely, warm, quite humid
there's somebody
Friday
else up there.
morning
Sorry,
here
it's
in
a bit, like,
Australia.
weird screen in my head. Hey, how are you? There's somebody else there.
Yes, this is my producing partner, Corey, and not just producing partner, script writer, music writer, and actor of Bloodface in our film.
You do absolutely nothing in this, so I'm just kind of sitting
No,
around waiting.
I only did a
it's
couple
a really
minutes.
small part.
That's great. You're like, I'm ready for my close-up. I'll be over in the trailer waiting. No, that's fantastic. That's a lot of hats to wear or balls to juggle. That's fantastic. Oh, I love the shirts.
Oh, thank you. Shogun
You went from up there, now you're here, and I see your t-shirt, I see guitar, and over, because you were like this little box up here, and now you're bam.
Oh, okay. Now I'm like,
yeah. Oh God, what's that in the background? The bees
all
from.
sorts
Oh
of
my
stuff,
gosh,
man.
that's crazy. You got good posters back there. I'm sorry. There's Lauren. Go ahead. I'm going to shut up.
No, it's all right. Well, yeah, Corey's joining me because
Right.
Bliss of Evil is really a collaborative effort between all of the producers, some of who couldn't be here this morning. So, yeah, our film Bliss of Evil tells the story of a young woman who is struggling in the aftermath of trauma. She's a sound engineer helping her girlfriend's grunge band rehearse for a very big gig that will hopefully land them a recording deal. And let's just say rehearsal doesn't go according to plan. Doesn't get off to a very good start. They might become locked in the studio that they're rehearsing in with a mad person that is killing people.
Oh, I've been asking everybody, if I get back down to earth,
Sure.
because the film industry in general is so massive between roles of prop, effects, acting, directing, multiple hats. So do you two remember when you first caught what I call the film bug? Because usually if you catch it, you're a lifer. Either a voyeur, not committing, or you are. And I always like to find people who, do you remember when you first caught the film bug, and are you on the path, or are you where you thought you would be back then?
Sure. I can remember. I almost remember the date. It was like August 1997 when I watched, it's embarrassing to say as an adult, but Scream. I watched that movie.
1973.
I watched that movie as a teenager.
Star Wars in the theater. I mean, come on, that was me. But so yes.
Yeah, I had no idea what I was walking into. I just knew that movie had the girl from Party of Five in it, and I thought that's a popular show, so it must be a good movie. I had no idea what I was walking into, and it scared the pants off me, and I absolutely loved being scared. So that really got me into not just film, but horror films in particular. And then I went down the rabbit hole of watching all the classic horror films. I watched Halloween soon after that, and that's one of my favorite movies to this day. And yeah, I set out to actually get into the film industry, but didn't quite. I wanted to be an actor and a writer, but I actually went down the path of being a psychologist, and I actually research human behavior for a living, which serves well in, making movies about human experiences, because I'm able to bring my academic experience into it.
Oh, it's great.
But yeah, Corey will be similar too. I'm sure, Corey. Do you remember when you became a film buff?
The day I was born, I think. I'm a massive film guy. Like, I just love all movies.
Yeah.
I just love film. I love horror, obviously, specifically. At the moment, it's Halloween, so this is like my favorite time of year. I watch nothing but horror. Well, I watch horror all year round, but this year I'm redoing all the Hammer films, and I'm doing some of the Universal monster films as well. Like every year I kind of change it up to the type of horror film I'll consume. But at the moment it's very like the gothic Hammer horror films, like classic Cushing and Lee movies. So just love it. Love movies. didn't have it easy. We had virtually no budget. We called in a lot of favors. We shot it during COVID.
Oh, wow.
And in Australia, our COVID restrictions were full on.
Yeah.
So we were only allowed 10 people at any one time on set, including cast and crew, which makes things difficult. But we got through it.
Can't imagine.
So.
Yeah. It's particularly trying to film a party scene with only 10 people allowed.
Yeah. Just coming project stuff coming up. I mean, I know there's this, but there's always stuff in the tonight. I know this, it's not like you put this to bed, it's out there now. It's growing, but there's always something else coming. Yes, maybe. No. Now
we're working on something. We have ideas. We have multiple scripts in the works, but we're kind of just with Bliss of Evil. We're putting it out there. It's starting to, you know, we're so honored to be part of Spooky Empire. The fact that you guys selected our little movie from literally the other side of the world, and we come from Brisbane. We're not part of one of the big cities in Australia. We're not from Sydney or Melbourne. We're from this tiny little place. So we're hoping that this movie kind of gets some traction, and you know, we're just putting the word out, and fingers crossed, you know, the other films that we have in the works will get the same treatment. So
hopefully. I mean, Bliss of Evil was the first movie that got made, but you know, Corey and our director, writer Josh and we've all known each other for a very long time, and there are several scripts that were written that never came to fruition, partly because of budgetary reasons. We'd have a half-written script and realize, hey, we need $200,000 to make that. But yeah, Bliss of Evil was the first one that came along that we thought we can actually do this on the micro budget that we did have to work with, which was approximately 15,000 Australian, which is less than 10,000 US. So there's plenty of other scripts and projects that we have in the works.
We called in a lot of favors for this film. Basically, everyone just worked for nothing. So yeah, very lucky with our cast and crew, and
everyone believed it. Everyone was very could see that there was something there. So everyone was happy to kind of be involved for what minimal we could offer them in return in terms of payment.
That's great.
Which is great.
Congratulate you both again for being part of Spooky Empire Film Festival, and good luck to you folks, perhaps winning an award or something of that nature. I'm sure they'll do that in there. And thank you again for your time, patience, especially with me. You folks have a safe and blessed day, or what did it say? Good day, mate.
Good day, mate.
Good day, mate.
Folks, take care. Thanks so much.
Peace.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. See you.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
So I'm Scott with Guru Reviews, reporting for NU Films at Spooky Empire 2022. Of course, at the film festival, where we are showcasing a lot of short films and feature films. And one of them is some gentlemen are with us this evening here on the Zoom call, The Merger. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Gentlemen, thank you for taking the time to speak with us this evening. And I did unfortunately not get a chance to watch this. I was trying to watch all of them, but I am going to watch it this evening, and I will send you my synopsis later. All good, so you know that I'm
looking forward to it.
I love films, and I'm trying to watch all of them, regardless of people who, but especially people who wanted to, take the time to speak with us. So, welcome, and gentlemen, could you tell us a little bit about the film without giving too much away? Because again, I have not seen it yet.
This is a hard one to talk about without giving too much away. Actually, I'll leave it to Nick. Nick, why don't you lead us in here?
Yeah, what do we say? We say so the film, it takes place, we did this during COVID and wanted to find a smart way to do a production that way. So we wrote a very concise film with two gentlemen in one location. It's about two corporate CEOs coming together to merge their companies and discuss kind of the logistics of that and what ensues afterwards.
Yeah, and I think it's no spoiler to say the merger does not happen seamlessly. They run into some hiccups, and things do go awry a little bit.
I've been asking everybody this evening, when you got the film bug, because most people that got it, I got it at 4 watching Star Wars and wanted to be a creature designer, and I chose different paths in life, but I've never kind of gotten out of doing something with film my whole life. So do you remember when you got it, and are you where you thought you would be?
Nick, you go ahead.
Yeah, I would say for me, it probably started, near the end of high school. A senior project that I worked with Scarier on was developing a comic book, and we read a story by Robert McKee, which probably a lot of people who do writing are familiar with. And I just kind of started digging deeper and deeper into creating stories from a film perspective. And comic books these days have gotten more similar to scripts and script worthy. And so yeah, that was kind of the beginning of it for me. And I ended up in film school, back then. And yeah, I've been chasing the bug ever since. So.
I don't have as much of a story background in film as Nick does. Honestly, I've just been kind of going along with Nick for most of our lives. We've been making things together since we were in third grade.
That's cool.
And then, so we, from one thing to another, I think we used to write plays back then. But it's been kind of one thing to another. And Nick has been sort of this constant creative force. And every now and then, he'll get an idea whipped up in his head, and it sounds incredible, and I jump on however I can. So I was lucky enough to jump on sort of early on with this one, and we were able to write the script and kind of get everything going and direct it and edit it and do pretty much everything together. And this is the first time in our lives that we've done that on this, so that's very exciting.
Very cool.
But yeah, I guess my answer to the question is I just follow Nick around and wait for him to have a good idea, and then I jump in and take half the credit.
Guy's being fairly modest there.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I immediately, he probably agreed that I probably have too many ideas, and so I often need someone to be like, no, that's the one to chase. And so, the merger is probably one that came about because, when I was pitching him different ideas that I had for my next short film, this is the one he pinpointed as the one to make. He was like, no, that's the idea. So that was, really it was Skylar's decision that got this ball rolling. I have another short film that's probably in the pre-production stages right now that I'm hoping to be shooting end of November. I don't want to speak too much to the story yet because we still have to kind of commit to the script. We haven't totally figured out all the details. And then I have a feature film that I've been working on for about 9 months or so as far as the actual script goes. And that's in its second draft right now. So I've finished the first draft, which is, like most first drafts, not 100% there, but I'm ironing out the details. And I think the second draft's going to be pretty strong because I'm really excited about that. So fingers crossed, I have some interest in production behind the feature film and hoping that'll take off. So we'll see.
Anything you gentlemen want to add before I sign off?
Yeah, the thing that I would like to add is just I guess I just want to express my gratitude to the great cast and crew we had. We lucked out super hard with as Nick mentioned, our cast was 2 guys, and we could not. We it was just a random casting call that we did that we got one of them, and then he kind of knew the second guy, and we gave him a shot, and he was perfect. But we could not have been more lucky to have had these 2. Edward Hightower and Will Springhorn Jr. are 2 of the most talented actors I've ever worked with, and this short is not even worth watching without the 2 of them adding their incredible talent to it. So that is one thing that I would like to say.
I want to thank you, gentlemen, again, for your patience with me, with us, and congratulations again on having your film showcased here in this film festival. Good luck to both of you on this. I'm looking forward to seeing it, and good luck in anything in the future. And hopefully we'll see you maybe here next year in person for something else, another short or
yeah, hopefully.
You guys have a safe and blessed night. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thank you.
Appreciate it.